Can you imagine making one simple shift in your strategy and completely changing the trajectory of your business? That's what happens when you focus on modern marketing principle number 1, customer centricity. I'm Todd from the Growth Suite, where we teach business owners how to use modern marketing principles to reach and impact more people. To check out the full series and all the principles, make sure you go to thegrowthsuite.com/modern marketing and check out all 5 principles to change the way you move your business forward. Now, today with modern marketing principle number 1, customer centricity, let's talk about what it is, why it's so important, and how you can implement it in your business. All right, so check this out. What's the definition of customer centricity? According to Gartner, it's about putting the customer at the focal point of all the decisions related to delivering your products, services, and experiences to create customer satisfaction, loyalty, and advocacy. They talk about customer centricity is the ability of people in an organization, that's you in your business, to understand the customer situations, perceptions, and expectations. The bottom line is everyone wants to know what's in it for me. Robert Collier, great legendary marketer and philosopher of sorts in the 20th century, said that the best marketing joins the conversation that's already happening in your prospect's mind. And that's what being customer centric is all about. And we'll get into 2 ways to implement this into your business, because there's 2 different pieces of the approach that I want to make sure you know about, so stick around for those. When you think about how it works, it's like if you're thinking about X and someone comes up to you and starts talking to you about Y, you don't really care because your mind is somewhere else on a different topic, right? And if they start trying to convince you of something, then they're trying to pull you in a different direction, then your mind is already flowing. Another great legendary copywriter and marketer is Eugene Schwartz. In his book, Breakthrough Advertising, he talks about how we can't really create demand from scratch in our customer's mind, but we can channel a demand that they already have and channel the desire they already have. And that's kind of how all this stuff ties together, is what's in it for me is what everyone's thinking about. That's why you're watching this video. You want to know what's in it for me to be customer centric, right? So that's what you need to think about, is what's in it for your customer, and approach the conversations from their perspective. And we'll get into some ways that you can kind of research and plan for that as well, so stick around for that. Now think about the reverse. If you're sitting there thinking about X and someone else comes up to you and starts talking about X, you're like, oh, I was just thinking about that. This makes sense. This is congruent and aligned with what I was already thinking about and feeling. And so you start paying attention to that, right? It's familiar to us and it's congruent with what we're trying to accomplish or issues that we're trying to resolve. And that piques our interest. It catches our attention. And as marketers and business owners, you don't need to create desire. You're just tapping into an existing desire. You're tapping into the flow of what's happening in your customer's life and helping them from there guide them into a customer journey. The 2 main ways you want to use customer centricity in your business, number 1 is in your product and offer development, and number 2 is in your marketing language and strategy. So let's start with number 2 first here, marketing, because that's something you can do today to start making a difference in your sales conversations and your marketing, whether it's on the phone, whether it's in your social media content, your website copy, the emails that you send out. Make sure you think about what the language is saying. And if you're talking about yourself, if the language is literally self-centered, talking about me, I, us as a company, we as a company, your company name, your product, the features of your product or services, as opposed to what's in it for the customer. Always flip it and start the conversation, whether it's the first couple lines of your email or website copy, whatever. Those first few lines need to address from the customer's perspective, what's in it for me. That's where you want to join the conversation that's already happening in their head. So just do a quick audit on either stuff you can change quickly or stuff that's scheduled to go out, and make the flip on that language. And as you start creating things going forward in your videos and social and ads, etc., start using that customer-centric language first. If you go back to the beginning of this video and you watch how I started the video by saying this one simple thing can change the trajectory of your business, I'm talking about your business. I'm putting it right there for you. And hopefully if you're watching this, you're trying to change that trajectory for your business in a better, more upward trend, right? And so that's what we're talking about here, and changing the language so that you start your messaging and your conversations with what's going on in your customer's head. You make them customer-centric. Number 2 is in your marketing strategy development, in your product development, your service offerings, as you're starting to craft those things, go back through them and think, did we position this because of the way that it makes our business efficient and this is our operations and fulfillment? Or can we kind of just repackage things, change the wrapping paper on it so that it becomes customer centric, so that it's things that they want and need, not just things that we can deliver on. But how do we tie those two things together and start with it being in the customer's mind? Now, there's plenty of great research stuff out there. You could use tools like SparkToro or BuzzSumo, or just straight up Google. Search on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, look in Reddit forums, and just see what is your market talking about. What questions are they asking? What problems do they have? What are they trying to accomplish? And start positioning your language and your products from that perspective for them. Of course, if you have a good customer base now that's responsive, or if you have a quality audience that you've built, which is also the power of building an audience for your brand, is that you have a direct communication with them, and you can create a feedback loop, and you can go and ask them directly. So you could do a little research, you can have conversations with your audience and your customers, you can come up with an idea and say, oh, I think this is a better way we can kind of repackage and reposition our products and services. And then you can reach out to them and say, hey, we're thinking about doing X, Y, and Z. How does that sound to you? And you can get that immediate feedback when you have an audience. And that's why building your own audience is so important, which is what we teach at the Growth Suite. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you go over to thegrowthsuite.com/subscribe to get on the list, get our weekly insights and strategies and quick tips around how to build an unbeatable brand so that you can be ahead of your competition and have an audience, so that you can have these kind of feedback loops and direct lines of communication, not just for sales promotions, but to actually turn your marketing into a dialogue instead of a monologue. Because when you have that feedback and the perspective directly from your customers, you'll be able to create products, services, programs, and marketing language and sales conversations that are customer centric, get a much better response, and create a much better loyal customer base for your business. So if you want to get more into the customer centricity for your business, make sure you're subscribed over at thegrowthsuite.com/modern marketing to dive into customer centricity plus the rest of the modern marketing principles, and get some additional trainings that you can implement in your business today so that you can get ahead of your competition and build an unbeatable brand.